Coming up, no document in world history so changed the world for the better as did the Ten Commandments. Western civilization, the civilization that developed universal human rights, created women's equality, ended slavery, created parliamentary democracy, among other unique achievements, would not have developed without them. As you will see when each of the 10 commandments is explained in this 10-part series, these commandments are as relevant today as when they were given over 3,000 years ago. In fact, they are so relevant that the 10 commandments are all that is necessary to make a good world a world free of tyranny and cruelty. Imagine for a moment a world in which there was no murder or theft. In such a world, there would be no need for armies or police or weapons. Men, women, and children could walk anywhere at any time of day or night without any fear of being killed or robbed. Imagine further a world in which no one coveted what belonged to their neighbor, a world in which children honor their mother and father and the family unit thrived, a world in which people obey the injunction not to lie. The recipe for a good world is all there in these 10 sublime commandments. But there is a catch. Stay tuned, because Bible 360 starts right now. Welcome to the Bible 360 podcast. I'm your host, Keyston France, and we are going to work through a 10-part series as we gain an understanding of the 10 commandments. Now understand this. The 10 commandments are predicted on the belief that they were given by an authority higher than any man, any king, or any government. That is why the sentence preceding the 10 commandments asserts the following: God spoke all these words. You see, if the 10 commandments, as great as they are, were given by any human authority, then any person could say, "Who is this man Moses? Who is this king or queen? Who is this government to tell me how I should behave?" Okay, so why is God indispensable to the 10 commandments? Because, to put it as directly as possible, if it isn't God who declares murder wrong, murder isn't wrong. Yes, this strikes many people today as incomprehensible, even absurd. Many of you are thinking, is this guy saying you can't be a good person if you don't believe in God? Well, let me respond as clearly as possible. I am not saying that. Of course, there are good people that do not believe in God, just as there is bad people who do. And many of you are also thinking, I believe murder is wrong. I don't need God to tell me. Now, that response is only half true. I have no doubt that if you are an atheist and you say that you believe murder is wrong, you believe murder is wrong. But forgive me, you do need God to tell you. We all need God to tell us. You see, even if you figured out murder is wrong on your own without God and the 10 commandments, how do you know it's wrong? Not believe it's wrong. I mean, know it's wrong. The fact is, you can't, because without God, right and wrong are just personal beliefs or personal opinions. I think shoplifting is okay. You don't. Unless there is a God, all morality is just opinion and belief. And virtually every atheist philosopher has acknowledged this. Another problem with the view that you don't need God to believe that murder is wrong is a lot of people haven't shared your view. And you don't have to go back very far in history to prove this. In the 20th century, millions of people in communist societies killed about 100 million people, and that doesn't count a single soldier killed in war. So don't get too confident about people's ability to figure out right from wrong without a higher authority. It is all too easy to be swayed by a government or a demigod or an ideology, or to rationalize the wrong you are doing isn't really wrong. And even if you do figure out what is right and wrong, God is still necessary. People who know the difference between right and wrong do the wrong thing all the time. But do you know why? Because they think no one is watching. However, if you recognize that God is the source of moral law, you believe that He is always watching. So even if you are an atheist, you would want people to live by the moral laws of the Ten Commandments. And even an atheist has to admit that the more people who believe God gave them and therefore they are not just opinion, the better the world would be. Think about it. Hey, I want to say thanks again for tuning into the show. If you enjoyed it, please show me some love and go on over to YouTube and subscribe to my page, Bible 360 Outreach, and hit that bell right next to it so you know when I'm posting. You can also find the show listed in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and pretty much any other podcast directories. Until next time, I wish you a very pleasant adieu.